No, stop. There we go. All right, so we're packing shares, but we're also going to go over tomatoes because we have so many different types. They look horrible, a lot of them, and they're going to be cracked and stuff because, well, there was an inch of rain plus last night, but we picked them before that, so hopefully they won't be that bad. So we've got the first row here is all from the field. Some of those will be from the tunnel later on as well, and then in the back there we have more tunnel tomatoes. So we're going to start on my left here, Marcy's right, and this is our Moskvich.
Yes, it is an heirloom, but it sort of tastes like a standard red tomato. This is your normal red slicing tomato for sandwiches. It's delicious and tastes like a red tomato. It's not super sweet. It just tastes like a red tomato.
So you can see this is what happens from the rain.
Oh, and I wanted to point out that this is probably, well, besides this one, it's one of the meatier tomatoes. It has
Rutgers
these areas of seed, but anyway.
And
good.
this kind of damage here is from rain. They just absorb so fast that they can't stay together.
But
That's
guess what?
an
It still
heirloom
tastes
trait.
fine.
Yeah. And honestly, we just cut it off.
Yep.
Okay, so the next one, I'm sure you've gotten these and you're wondering what the heck is this? Go ahead. You
These are called Wapsinicon.
Wapsinicon.
They're peach tomatoes. They're called peach tomatoes.
Yeah.
They're Noah's favorite.
They're from a river in northern Iowa.
And they're small and they're really soft.
Fuzzy.
They're fuzzy. They're squishy. I know that. I'm not really selling these, but they're good. They're sweet. They're they have a sweetness to them, almost like the
Sun
orange
Gold
ones. Yes, the Sun Gold tomatoes. They're nice for salads or just eating. Not super good slicers because they're so soft, but you know, can't go wrong. They're delicious. Right. And they're tiny.
Yes, they're small like that. Okay, this.
And I wanted to add quickly,
yes,
they crack very easily. So even if we're putting them in boxes, firm and whole, they might split just because that's what they do. We can't really help it. We're doing our best, but they're soft. So
just so everyone knows, all these tomatoes were picked yesterday or today. All right.
Okay, next one.
Mortgage lifter. They're usually bigger, but the color is what's important.
The color
here.
is beautiful on these. Look at how pink they are and pink inside. Now
Yeah.
these have a lot of meat, but they're a softer tomato too.
They're my favorite.
Yeah, they're very flavorful. I don't know, they taste like tomatoes, but they're like, if I were to compare this to the, what are these? Rutgers. I would say these have more flavor to them.
Okay, and what we're seeing here is lots of scarring on the top. That's standard heirloom stuff. The green shoulders actually is just ripe or just below ripe, but you can see inside is great. We're trying to pick them a little early so they don't split open. But yeah, that pinkish color is what is a highlight there. So the next ones here are Moskvich.
Those are Moskvich, and just to clarify, I think we may have accidentally called those Moskvich when we started. I don't remember now. But those are Rutgers, peach, mortgage lifter, Moskvich is what I'm on now.
It's a Russian heirloom.
And again,
so
it's got a pretty soft inside. Yeah. Not a lot of seeds, but even the meat, it's not as firm as the Rutgers or
and you can see those stars on the outside. They don't even go in. That's how most of the tomatoes are.
So these are extremely sweet. They're real kind of watery, and they have a very sweet taste to them. I like those a lot, actually.
Okay, this is Cherokee Purple. It's a little small, but I wanted to give you guys the bigger ones.
These are the ugliest tomatoes we grow.
But they're also rated the #1 flavor in the country as far as heirlooms.
So these, again, tend to be, all the heirlooms really, generally, are not super firm.
So here's a bigger one.
And this has a completely different taste.
Yeah, it's almost a smoky, meaty taste.
Yeah, it is. It doesn't taste like a regular tomato. It tastes like a tomato, but it's a different flavor.
Okay, now this is Amish paste. You can see how they look. You guys won't be getting any of these in your shares.
No.
Really meaty. This is what we're canning for winter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
these
we'll do that with all the tomatoes.
For soups and stews and chilies.
Right.
We may even wind up, these freeze very nicely. So what we don't can, we may freeze on these because you can just cook the whole thing down. They're good and they're kind of sweet. They're kind of dry and heavy because they're used for paste and sauces and stuff, so they don't have as much water content.
Okay, this one here, I don't know how to say it, guys. I think it's Juan Flamme. It's French, so I'm sure that's not how it's said.
It's the only orange one we do, isn't it?
It's Juanflamme, whatever you want to call it. But it is the only orange one this year. They look like oranges.
They're also sweeter. They have a really good flavor, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're one of the lower acid.
Yeah, they do have lower acid. They're not acid free. We don't grow acid free tomatoes. Then over here are cherries. So you've got these orange ones. They taste like candy. They're a sun gold. These red ones are called Peace Vine, and then you'll have some that are kind of bigger and like this. Those are bumblebees.
Honestly,
different varieties.
Of the flavors, the bumblebees have the least amount of flavor in them, so they're nice to throw into salads and stuff and mix them with other things. They're good. They're good for snacking on. And the red ones, this is something that we noticed over and over again with these small red tomatoes, is that they do burst as well. They get full of water and they just crack. So that's what happens.
Okay, so now we've got the two varieties that aren't in the field here. This monstrosity is Brandywine. There are, let me turn this around before you take it. Yeah, it's oozing. There were some worms on it, so that's why I pulled it. But it's massive. I mean, if we put this together, this is what this thing looks like. A lot of the time, that's what a Brandywine's going to come out like. The holes, that's something different. But inside, you know, you've got a good color and lots of meat. Green shoulders again. Here's a smaller Brandywine. Green shoulders, nice inside.
Yeah, we eat it.
And yeah, they're wonderful. But again, those won't be in shares for a couple weeks. They are great beefsteak, burgers, anything really, because they're just, well, anyway. And then this here is it's a hybrid. I believe it's either an Early Girl or a Mountain Fresh. We got hybrids in the tunnel. They're going to be a standard flavor, but Marcy can describe that for you.
What kind is this again?
Mountain Fresh or Early Girl or Late Girl or Double Better, Big Boy.
It just tastes like a tomato.
Yeah.
I mean, of all the tomatoes, it's sort of the mildest flavor.
All right.
But it's good. Any of these, I mean, they're all delicious because they're all garden fresh tomatoes. You know, I had somebody make a comment at the market the other day, and I know she wasn't a shareholder, but she made a comment about how, she said, how do your tomatoes taste? And I said, well, they're wonderful. And she said, well, they don't look very good. And it's hard to explain if you don't know how much better garden fresh tomatoes taste than the tomatoes, the perfect, beautiful tomatoes that you're getting from the grocery store, which have been picked unripe and then gassed to ripen and have traveled halfway across the country at least. They have no flavor. These things are packed with flavor. So
that's the thing about heirlooms, and yeah, we have a few that aren't, but we try to stay with the heirlooms.
Because they taste so
yeah,
good.
They are held on to because of flavor, not because of how they stay firm and hold on. Definitely, when you get our tomatoes, you're going to want to get these in the fridge.
Yep. And refrigerated tomatoes taste just as good as non-refrigerated tomatoes.
Yeah, I know we've all been told otherwise, but there's studies done, and unless you have a cut tomato exposed to the rest of the stuff in your refrigerator,
they're going to taste just as good.
And they stay ripe and firmer, as opposed to your counter where they're going to turn to mush.
And gross within a couple days.
Because we do pick ripe or just almost ripe. So that's the key. So that's the deal. Share packing, I mean, it's really what you guys have gotten over the last few days, or last few weeks. And it's going to be more of that. If you look at the field walk, you will see that we've got so much going on out there. These are fresh from the field, these heads of lettuce. So I don't know if they're going to fit in the boxes, so you might have to snag those as well. But that's the deal. We will see everybody soon, and newsletter, event announcement, 2 weeks. All right, read it. Bye.